Bye-bye.
Got out there!
What the?
Welcome to the Weeb Lounge. Now, I'm guessing you've probably been looking around the internet for a little bit, tips and tricks, trying to find the absolute best loadout, one that complements your skill. Well, I can tell you two things. One, this is the best, most powerful loadout you're going to be able to put together, but two, it's not for everybody. Here's a few examples of what I'm talking about.
That'll work.
Fuck. Anybody on the door?
Moi aussi.
French Canadians, yay.
Well, by me, more closer to the Welsh border.
Ooh!
Now what you just saw is me walking around with a Kar 98, acting like it's a normal assault rifle with a little dot scope on it. That's it. And this is the deadliest class that you can really use. It is going to one-shot people in the head just like a sniper, but it's going to cause massive damage otherwise with other kind of hits too. It does 250 damage to the head. That is full armor, full plates, one shot, done, just like an HDR or any bolt action sniper. And to the chest and up, the upper chest and up, is 154 damage. It has a high probability of one-shotting somebody who's a little low on armor, or you're going to get two shots if you hit that first one really good. Now, to the lower torso and the legs, it's only 86 damage, and that's why you need to really practice with this gun, because you need those upper chest shots and those head shots. This gun isn't for newbies, it's not for casuals, it's for people who have skill, not people who think they might have skill. I don't know if you're up to the challenge or not. The only way to find out is to pick this gun up, go into Warzone, see if you can handle it. Practice with it. Now, I wouldn't say practice with it in regular multiplayer, because chances are regular multiplayer, just about anywhere you hit somebody, it's going to be a kill shot, especially if you're using stopping power. So Warzone, especially Plunder mode, is where it's at if you're looking to try this loadout and get good. Even if you're not good, even if your aim's not that great, if you're willing to suffer a tad bit, use this as aim training, because it's going to force you to get those good shots in order to survive. If you are not making those shots, your chances of survival go way, way down, even if you miss just that first shot. So, what kind of loadout should we be talking about here? How should we be configuring this gun? Well, that's where this comes in.
So this is your configuration. This is your loadout. This is what you're going to do to your Kar 98. Let's hit into the gunsmith. First up, muzzle, monolithic suppressor. This shit's on everything. Now, the damage range is very important, but the great thing with the Kar 98 is with that suppression, you can barely ever hear this thing, so it gets a lot harder for people to position where that shot came from. The barrel, Sigurd Custom 27.6, damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, makes the shots easier to hit, more damage at range, and you're not really worried about the recoil control, but the bullet velocity, damage range, that's what you got that for. Stock, precision comb. Now, it's really important, since you're not using anything that you can hold your breath, to try to get your aim as stable as possible. So the precision comb is the best option for that. It'll help keep that dot from moving. Underbarrel, we ain't got nothing. Rear grip, granulated grip tape, more aiming stability and aim walking steadiness. You will be aim walking probably a lot with this. And the aiming stability, of course, keep that dot nice and stable. Like I said, you're not able to hold your breath, so that is handy. Last but not least, the optic. A very, very, very simple Viper reflex sight. Just a dot scope. That's it. It's going to help you aim down the sight a little faster than you would with other kind of scopes. Like if you use the VLK optic, the mobility goes down. You use pretty much any hybrid, your mobility and control goes down. This gives you a nice clear scope without any kind of real obstruction and less of a detriment from adding something to your gun. Plus, it's a lot better than the iron sights. Now, some people might be like, well, I want to use the iron sights. Well, that's all well and good, but the laser is going to give you away. And one of the things with using this kind of class loadout is you don't want your position given away, especially when you're in close range. I never really like using these. Maybe they're more to your guys' flavor. If you think you can do an iron sight and slap on that tax laser, no harm in giving it a try, but the way that I play, my type of gameplay, a laser doesn't do me any good. OPTIC Viper Reflex Sight. Now, what would you want for your secondary and all the other stuff? The secondary, pick a pistol. Something that you're comfortable with, something that's going to do really well, and I would actually advise against using any kind of akimbo. Akimbo is really inaccurate. It's really hit or miss. Sometimes you get some really good shots and people just drop. Other times it's like, you know, what the heck happened? Your bullets went everywhere but forward, right? The best thing to do is to get a good, precise gun, and you know, this is the one that I just choose to use. I just choose to use the 50 GS and just put on all my typical stuff. Monolithic Suppressor, Forge Tac Enforcer, simple little mini reflex, which is actually kind of worthless. You could probably replace that with something else. It helps with your first shot, but the recoil is so bad, subsequent shots are kind of junk. But I like it because it helps with that first shot. Lightweight trigger, 13 round mag. That's what I like, but the secondary is really up to you. If you want to go with a rocket or something, by all means do. But yeah, you want something that typically when you hit with the Kar 98, but you don't finish off your opponent and you need to do something really quick, switch over to your offhand and you finish them off. That's what I've done traditionally in games going way back to like the original Call of Duties, the original Medal of Honor. That's my playstyle. Yours might be different. Pick accordingly. Perks. For the first one, cold-blooded. It's a cold-blooded or EOD, really. I like cold-blooded because I tend to play plunder a lot more than anything, and those helicopters that come out after a while are a real pain. So I tend to use cold-blooded. Otherwise, EOD might be more your flavor. It's going to be one of those two. Middle one, Ghost. There's no debate about that. Ghost. Use Ghost. Need Ghost. Don't think about anything else other than Ghost. Third perk, I like Amped because of my playstyle. Faster weapon swap and rocket launcher reload speed. Now, I'm not using a rocket launcher, but when I go to switch to my pistol from that Kar 98, it is damn near instantaneous. It helps me finish off opponents in a very quick and efficient manner. It has saved my ass more times than I can count. Anything else? Well, that's kind of up to your playstyle. If you don't think you use your offhand very often or want to try to play without using your offhand, then, you know, pick something else, whatever it is that you feel like. Now, in Plunder and, you know, Warzone, I mean, in general, Battle Hardened is, you know, pretty decent. Tracker's actually not bad in Plunder. It's really up to you, but I highly recommend Amped so you can get that faster weapon switch. Now, as far as lethal goes, I always find myself encountering vehicles. So it's like, I want my C4. I have the C4 to protect myself from vehicles. Simple, that's it. And then I use heartbeat sensor. Now, once again, I tend to play Plunder more than actual Battle Royales, and the heartbeat sensor really comes in handy. Remember, you're using a Kar 98. You are vulnerable if you miss that first shot, and the more information you have about your surroundings, the better, because that's going to help you get this, and this helps you do, yeah, they go well together. So, in all reality, you can use something else, but like I said, you're not charging in through doors. You're not jumping around corners or anything like that. So flashbang, concussion, stun, whatever, they don't really serve nearly as good as a purpose would be if you're using like a shotgun or an SMG and you're just charging straight into battle. So heartbeat sensor, that's where it's at. And that's the loadout. That's the one that I use. That's the one that I will continue to use for quite some time.
Okay, so there's the configuration that you should be using. Modify it accordingly to what you need, how your gameplay is, but here's a couple little tips and tricks. One, no running and gunning like you would with an SMG or even a fast-acting AR. Why? Because you have to remember, you get pretty much one shot, maybe two if you're lucky, before your opponent's going to just whoop your ass. So you need to be a little bit more cautious. You need to go around those corners a little bit slower. You don't want to be just diving into a room and trying to get that magical headshot. Now, is it possible to jump around a corner, whip around 180 degrees and ADS and get that headshot? Sure, it is possible, but you better be really good and or really lucky to pull shots like that off on a consistent basis. It is not for ambushing your opponents by jumping through doorways. It is for making them fall over dead in one shot and go, what the hell just happened? That's how you play with the Kar 98 with a dot scope. You treat it more like a combination of being a sneaky sniper along with a little bit of extra close range combat, maybe similar to a shotgun, but you're not diving into rooms. So get it, change your playstyle just a little bit, and hopefully if you got the skill, you'll be doing a little bit better. 2, don't be afraid to go for the really long shots. Those, long distance 300-meter sniper shots where you're only going to see like a little speck of nothing pixel kind of going by. It's still accurate. It can still one shot in the head at those range. The upper body still can break their armor. So don't be afraid to take those really long shots just because you have a little dot scope. It's going to be very handy for you to have a slightly better computer with better smoothed out graphics, even higher resolution monitors beyond 1080p. That can actually help in order for you to be able to spot these things. But in all reality, anyone with a good computer, 1080p, or if you're playing on console, you guys can all pull it off. It all boils down to skill. Now, the third thing is, and this is one of the main advantages is why I use the red dot, green dot, one little dot scope, is because no scope glint. None. When people get hit with a Kar 98, they assume that they got sniped. They assume they got sniped. And chances are they're going to be acting a little bit more cautious. You get hit with a Kar 98 or one of your buddies gets down at full health or whatever, they're assuming sniper and they're going to use a little extra caution. They might even run off and hide. The great thing is since you're only using a 1x scope, a little dot scope, you're not going to give off any scope glint at all. So think of it this way. You got a sniper rifle, bolt action, one shot in the head, no scope glint. Think of that as one hell of an advantage. It's going to be much harder for people to spot you when you're ADS. And those are the tips that I got for you. If you're a noob, if you're a casual, I don't recommend this loadout. I don't recommend this configuration. But if you got the skill, I say go for it. If you got the guts to try to learn and get your aim up to par, I say do it. Even for the noobs and the casuals, grab this loadout, and if you want to train and get better, this is one way to force yourself to get better. With that, I'm Nick, in game as the Weeb Lounge, and we'll see you in Warzone.